Okay. This is JJ Pianchi of the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign interviewing Gary Pugh on August 16th, 2017 at the main library. Where and when were you born?
In Macomb, Illinois, January 2nd, 1948.
Who were your parents and what were their occupations?
Henry Gilbert Pugh and Marie Irene Pugh. Dad was civil service at Chanute for 33 years. Mom was a homemaker. Mostly. She had a couple of part-time jobs.
Do you have any siblings?
I did. He died in 68.
Was he in the service?
No.
What were you doing before you entered the service?
I was selling Singer sewing machines.
Okay. What branch of the military did you serve in?
Air Force.
And did you enlist or were you drafted?
I enlisted.
Why did you choose the Air Force?
I grew up beside Chanute.
Makes sense. What happened when you departed for training camp and during your early days of training? What was it like?
Went to San Antonio, Texas. It was hotter than hell, and we had a guy a day die while I was in camp.
From heat exhaustion?
Yep. They put out words but no action to take it easy. So we lost about a guy a day.
And what year was this?
69.
Do you recall your instructors, and if so, what were they like?
I don't remember any of their names, no.
Okay.
They were just ordinary drill instructors.
Okay.
That's all.
A lot of yelling, a lot of shouting?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you receive any specialized training, and if so, what?
0.
Well, what was your specialty in the service? What did you
Fuels, and I didn't go to school for it.
do? So you refilled planes?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you could go to school, except the school was wiped out by a hurricane, so they didn't send us to school.
So how did you get trained to do fuel?
OJT.
OJT. On-the-job training.
Yep.
Gotcha. How did you adapt to military life, including the physical regimen, barracks, food, and social life?
Probably about average. It was a big change, but nothing that couldn't be handled.
Anything stick out about your time in boot?
Getting aggravated with the service because they didn't care if somebody died every day. That was my big thing.
Okay. Where were you stationed?
After that, I went to K.I. Sawyer in the Upper Peninsula, Michigan. I found out what winter is.
Were you only stationed there?
Now, from there, I changed climates and went to Vietnam.
How long were you in Vietnam?
1 year.
And where were you in Vietnam?
Phan Rang.
Okay.
Phan Rang Air Force Base, right near the town of, a few miles from the town of Phan Rang.
What did you do after Vietnam? Were you still stationed somewhere
Came to
else?
Scott.
Scott Air Force Base.
That's where I met her.
What were some of your memories of being in Vietnam?
Go back to big change in what's going on. It was hot and humid. You had dry time, you had monsoons.
The Mama Sans.
Mama Sans were there. All being as we was on Air Force Base, we could have Mama Sans at the barracks.
What does that mean?
That means they washed your clothes, and if they liked you, occasionally they'd bring they kept a couple of hot plates there, and they'd bring a little something in and cook for you.
Okay.
And I said, they cleaned the bedclothes so you didn't have to do it, and kept your clothes cleaned and ironed to standards, so you didn't get hollered at. Couldn't be running around the war zone with not creased pants.
Perish the thought.
Yeah.
So when you were at the Air Force Base, so you were fueling planes,
Yes.
okay? And was there any kind of combat going on around you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you could watch it. Couldn't see anything today hardly, but, maybe an explosion from a big rocket or something. But at night, there was a high spot on the base, and you could go up there and watch incoming and outgoing tracers and stuff. Because I don't know what you're looking for here. That was one of the few true NATO bases, which is unusual. Because they had Canadians and Australians there. So therefore it was, and a big unit of South Korean infantry.
How did all those different groups get together? How do they all interact with each other?
The the Koreans were fenced off from us. We could not get to their compound without going through a gate. They couldn't get to ours without going through a gate. And I went there one time and that was it. And I'm glad they were there because them and the Vietnamese hated each other. So they attacked them every damn night and left us alone most of the time. But you could watch the tracers go in and out all night long over there. I guess it's bad, but better them than us.
Yeah. So was that something you often did? Was go watch the tracers at night?
Nah,
Just a couple
No.
times? Okay. What was it like being there? Were you scared? Were you excited? You hated it? You loved it? I mean,
There's no love nor hate. It's just there. I ran twice. Back to the bunker when some rockets were landing. And you don't worry about getting wounded when you're doing that job.
how come?
You're driving a truck with multi-thousand gallons of fuel. If something's going to happen, you want it done right then. You don't want to burn. So, wounds were out. Wound worries were out.
You either survive or don't.
You got it. If you want it, you wanted it quick.
Okay.
The only interesting thing we did, we drove about 10 miles once in a while with a loaded truck to take fuel. We called it South China Beach. It was a little beach area you could go to. We was 10 miles from the beach at that base. And technically you could go down there to relax. The only times I was there, I drove a fuel truck up her back. That was it.
Gotcha.
It was just a little place to go. There was nothing really there. A little place you could swim. So you could say you swam in the South China Sea.
How did you feel witnessing casualties and destruction around you?
Ain't fun. I don't know. I wasn't around that much of it because I was refueling aircraft. I helped unload the chopper a couple of times. That was more than a little upsetting, but
Of wounded or?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wounded.
Yep. You learned where not to walk. You didn't walk near the hospital because that's where the choppers landed.
Yeah. You'd be recruited to help.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
What kinds of friendships and camaraderie did you form while serving in with?
Well, you made good friends in that. The only thing I feel bad about all that is I never wrote any of them's names down. And I guess they didn't write mine down either because I never heard from any. And there's a couple of them I'd like to talk to, but that's,
You're
just the
just
way-
in the moment.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And everybody rotated through at all times. You might know somebody for a month, you might know them for quite a few months.
Okay. How did you stay in touch with family and friends back home?
Well, now you call it snail mail. But occasionally, you had the little reel-to-reel 3-inch tape recorder and sent a tape. That was it.
Was mail important?
Oh, yeah. And twice I got to use Barry Goldwater's system of talking over the radio telephone system back here because there was no landline.
Right.
So he went over to the big radio station there and got in line. And he'd sit there and the radio operator at the base would get with the ham radio operator. And as it turned out, it was through Barry Goldwater's home. He had a huge system set up, ham radio set, and they kept it staffed 24/7 for people to call home.
Yeah.
And they would make the call for you at no charge
Nice.
from there to your home.
So when
But
did
it was
you?
only allowed so often.
Right. So did you typically try to call home? Was it a special event or just, oh, I miss
Something
home?
to do,
Something to do.
yeah. Like I said, I only did it twice.
Okay. What did you do for recreation or when you were off duty?
Made a lot of reel-to-reel tapes. They had a system you could use to do that, music tapes.
Did you play an instrument?
No.
Or sing? Or just listening?
Uh, I don't know, mostly you'd go to one of the 2 clubs on base and knock off some time. And our schedule was 6-hour days, 6 days a week. Time you walk back, got to the shower house, and then back to the barracks, and and 8, you was ready to go to bed. So, yeah, there was slack time, but nothing extraordinary.
When you were in the service, did you read for pleasure, and if so, what?
Did I what?
Did you read for fun?
Yeah.
What'd you read?
Westerns a lot.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
Any particular author?
Yeah, same one still read some, Louis L'Amour.
All right. What particular book would you say influenced your life the most, and why?
I don't know if any one did. Not that I know of.
That's fine. Did you use libraries when you were in the service? Why or why not?
No, I did not that I recall.
Okay. Where were you when the war ended?
It was here in Illinois. That'd been calm. Would that have been calm? I don't know, somewhere towards St. Louis on the Illinois side, Collinsville, Cahokia, somewhere in there.
Okay. How did you return home? So you did a year in Vietnam, then you came back to Scott,
Yeah,
and you were in Scott for a year?
a little over a year, yeah.
Okay. So when you mustered out from Scott, did you come home right away?
No,
Yeah, what'd you
I
do?
met her right after I was discharged. We went to Macon, Missouri and opened a auto repair shop for a little bit. Didn't work out and came back to that area.
Okay. How were you received by your family and community when you finally came back?
Oh, the family was wonderful. The community, I would like to meet some today so I could hurt them.
How so?
How?
Or
Anything
why?
I thought I could get by with, I would do to them. And a few things I wouldn't get by with.
What happened?
Spit on, cussed out, tried to get beat up, you name it. General damned abuse.
When you came back?
Part of it was right here on this campus too. Yeah,
So there was tension between people who were against the war
absolutely.
and veterans who were coming back.
Absolutely. That started at the airport at SeaTac, that's Seattle Tacoma, where we landed. Guy had just been sitting by, had no idea who he was, and I walked off into the terminal and Hare Krishna, you probably never heard of, but they were there all over. And they were the no violence, we don't touch you. Well, they touched. And we touched back, and the cop told us to run. He didn't want to arrest us.
Gotcha.
But we did touch them back very well.
So was that, when you got back to Illinois, was that behavior pretty common of clashing with peace protesters?
Depending on where you were, I stayed away from them areas.
Yeah. Mostly on campus or
Yeah.
downtown or?
Anywhere was possible.
Right.
Anywhere was possible.
Okay.
He was safe on it and ran to them mostly, but here, nah.
How did you readjust to civilian life?
I didn't have near the problem a lot of people did. At the time, I didn't even know that I was looking at things quite a bit differently, and it hadn't been the last 10 years I've really thought about it that I did look at a lot of things a little different. So,
What do you mean by that? Can you give an example?
I'm more callous on some things than I would have been previous, you know, to an extent.
In terms of like violence
Yeah.
or interacting with people?
Yeah, I don't want violence, but
Not gonna put up with it either.
if somebody starts it, I'm damn well gonna be the one walking away.
Sure. Have you remained in contact with or reunited with fellow veterans, and if so, who?
No, not really. Not like going to a VFW or something. No,
Are you a member of any veterans organizations, and if so, which?
VFW. I'm a life member.
Okay. So what have you done since separating from the military? You spent a couple of years in Macon on a machine shop. You came back to Illinois. What did you do when you came back to Illinois?
I worked a number of different jobs, and then I wound up with a career at Monsanto.
And
I've had a number of part-time jobs after that, different things.
what were you doing at Monsanto?
I basically had two jobs there. I was either a chemical worker in a unit making chemicals, or the majority of my time I was industrial master mechanic working on this equipment.
As a veteran, have you used your local library? Why or why not?
I use it electronically to get books and read, but that's it. I don't go there to sit and read.
Okay. As a veteran, are there programs or types of books available at the library that you enjoy more than others?
No.
As a veteran, is there something that you wish you could change about the library that would enhance your enjoyment of it?
No, I don't think so.
How did your military or wartime experiences affect your life?
Well, it opened my eyes to a lot of things that could or could not happen.
What do you mean? Can you give an example?
Well, I was never exposed to all that violence before, the military. So, although you've seen movies and stuff, there is no reality there. None. Not a bit. Not the sound, not the sights, nothing.
What sticks out the most in terms of the reality of violence?
If you're hurt, you're hurt. If you're dead, you're dead. That's it.
Okay. What are some life lessons you learned from military service?
Oh. Learn to work with people and get along with a lot of different types of people. The way they want to do things, what they believe in and that.
How has your military service impacted your feelings about war and the military in general?
And I support the military people altogether. It'd be nice if there weren't any wars, but there's gonna be. There has been every day since time started getting wrote down, and it'll probably continue that way.
Okay. What message would you like to leave for future generations who will hear this interview?
Just do your best. That's all you can do.
Okay. Is there anything you feel like we haven't discussed or should be added to this interview, and if so, what?
I don't know what it'd be.
Okay. So, when you mustered out, and you were interacting with peace protesters who sometimes turn violent, did you ever think about, like, what are they protesting? You know.
Oh, I knew what they was protesting. There was never any doubt about that.
How so?
Pardon? How?
What were they protesting?
Well, their statement would be involvement in the war, or any war, I guess. I don't know if they was only protesting that one war, which is what they said, or if they meant all.
How did you feel about being in Vietnam?
I volunteered for it. I better feel all right about it. I volunteered for the service, and I volunteered to go there.
Was there a particular reason? Did you just think it was the right thing to do, or serve
I
your
thought it was the
country?
right thing to do.
Okay. Well, I don't have anything else.
Okay.
Do you have anything else that you would want to say on the record? No?
I don't know. Do you think of anything that I've ever said that I'm missing?
No.
A lot of people talk about their time, especially if they were in combat or near combat.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about the times that, you know, things that they saw or things that they did, things that stuck out in their memory, that made an impact or changed the way they saw the world. You know, whether it was smells or sights or sounds, or a person who died, or survived by luck of the draw. We had one Vietnam veteran who was like, "Oh yeah, we were cleaning up from movie night, and I didn't kick a cup, and I reached down instead and just picked it up, and there was a grenade in it." You know, so like that moment of like, oh, everything could have ended. So a lot of people talk about sort of like those you know, could have gone left, could have gone right moments.
Exactly, there's that. And you're most certainly not going to write this down, but there was a lot of racial problem.
Yeah.
I wound up in hospital twice from getting beat up.
So was there tension on the base?
Absolutely. This is in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Between black troops and white troops.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. For that matter, the base commander, there was a public speaker system throughout the base so they could give warnings. He got on there and chewed everybody out. So within an hour, we was back fighting.
So was racial tension pretty common on base?
Yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And were fist fights and things like that pretty common too?
Only racially. I mean, occasionally people didn't like each other and got into it, but probably no more than anywhere else. For that matter, maybe less of it because of the punishment you got.
What was the punishment?
Depended on your commanding officer, what they felt like. Some looked at it like, you're in the military, go ahead and fight. And the others looked at it like this is really a bad thing.
So some people got punished for fighting and some people did not.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, if you was on the Australian part of the base, they looked at it from a different standpoint.
How so?
I guess nobody's touched this one, huh?
No.
We love going there because their beer was 25 cents for a 26-ounce can of Foster's. And it was fresh flown in. They flew theirs in. Ours came by ship, so it was 25 cents for a 12-ounce can with preservative in it. Now, where are you gonna go? You
Fresh
only get one
beer.
choice here. The only bad part was, their opinion, as long as you didn't use nothing but your hands and feet, have at it. And they did that on a nightly, daily basis at the club.
So there was a lot of fistfights on the Australians.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it was.
Yeah. So was beer drinking for you a recreational thing? Something you did a lot of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a
Anything
whole lot
else?
else to do.
Anything else you did for fun? Play cards, pool.
I found out I was a horrible card player. I did it one time. I ain't done it since.
He doesn't play poker to this day.
Nope. Tried it once.
Did you
Found
win?
out what a good cheat is.
Did you lose your shorts?
Huh?
Did you lose your shorts?
Yeah, we got him back because he couldn't need his because he was hurting. But, no, there's as many good things as bad. You know, I said the Australians were wonderful to be around.
Did you have any leave while you were there?
Any what?
Any leave? So you said there was a little
The R&R?
area- Yeah, there was a little R&R for swimming.
Well, there was supposed to be. Everybody's supposed to get 2 weeks. Well, that didn't work real good because you had an option. You could come back home 2 weeks early if you did not take R&R. When the time was up, they needed people, and I never got my 2 weeks. I spent the whole time instead of getting 2 weeks.
That's a lot.
Whatever, but, you know,
Gotcha. Is there anybody that you wish you had kept in touch with?
yeah, there was a guy I know, he's from southeast Missouri, but I can't remember no more than that. But
Just your buddies who you drank with, who you worked with?
we got in trouble a lot and had pulled the same punishment detail all the time.
All the time. Were you in trouble a lot?
We got in trouble with considerable regularity, yeah.
And what kind of trouble were you causing?
Now we'd go have to change the truck tires because we had a lot of trucks. And you probably don't know what it is. They had split rims on there. And they were extremely dangerous when he was working on them. And that was punishment. You wound up in the shed working on them.
And what were you doing that got you punishment detail?
No, we were creative.
Gotcha.
He still is.
So you were one of the fighters?
No, not much, huh?
Much?
No, very rare.
Ornery's more like it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Ornery.
Pulling ornery stunts mainly.
You were the joker of the family, weren't
Yep.
you? Yep.
Still
okay.
am.
Yep.
Our youngest son's the same way, and his youngest son is the same way.
Runs in the
Hasn't
family.
it down.
Runs in the family. Well, I'm sure your buddies loved you.
I don't know.
So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I don't have anything else. If you have nothing else,
No.
We are short just like a minute and a half.
it'll be fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll be
Okay.
So, thank you very much for coming out,
Oh, yeah.
and it was lovely to talk to both of you.